So some good news. You probably heard me talking about this before, and I wasn't very happy about it. I'm sure people would often heard me say about it in very vulgar terms. Because let's be fair, the GAA mean nothing nowadays. They're just a soulless organisation. They've given up their values to be World Economic Forum types, basically. And the good news is now, and again, just to say that people have the option now to use card or cash, which is all that people were asking for. I get into the whole details. I've talked about it before many times. And again, I think everybody in Cavan should owe a big thank you to one of our greatest councillors ever, Councillor Sarah Wiley. And it's really her that's led this drive for this to be brought in. Because again, imagine we had to literally fight for the GAA to even bring it in. And 4 years since maybe it was brought in, when the amendment was put to Cavan County Council, to send a letter to the GAA to ask them to consider elderly people, etc., etc. And what the county board said back then spoke volumes as to what Cavan County Board means and what the county GAA in this county means. They said they would throw the letter in the bin and they wouldn't listen to the councils because it's their way or it's the hard way. There's nobody else has an opinion, to be totally honest. But again, fairness to Council Sarah Wiley, she's always been front and set doing this. She's always been pushing them for answers. And again, we've got our answer, we've got our result. And it's all about just having the choice. And that's all that we were looking for, a choice. People to pay. If people want to pay online, fair play. If people want to turn up and pay for a ticket, they have every right. Because again, they're still paying for it. They're not getting it for nothing. To be totally honest, the GAA, but we all know they're just grabbing everything and go, the GAA. They don't care. They have lost all their value, the GAA. They don't care about the tradition or any of that. They just care about the World Economic Forum, etc., fitting the policies, ticking the diversity boxes, etc., etc. But we all know they should be letting elderly people in for nothing anyway. They should be just saying, no, we're not going to charge anybody over 60. We don't need the money. Go on in. Because they're getting huge grants from the government, along with big concerts, etc., etc., and the prices of tickets. So, they think they would have said to the elderly people, no need to pay at all. That's what would have solved the whole situation. But they're too miserable. They want all the money. They want to grab all and go. But it's good that we're getting somewhere. It's good that it's finally decided to. But they should have done it from the very start, and especially that time I found it very ignorant that the county board said this, that the elected councillors who had concerns that people couldn't get into the local GAA matches, elderly people particularly, affected elderly people, but not even that, for the only general public take, for example, that felt on a Saturday morning, there's a game going on down the road, I go down and watch it, just because they have a few minutes, they have an hour or half an hour to spare, and they're like, I'll go down and watch the show, instead of having to go online and book maybe a week or two in advance, etc., etc. But it's good that we're there. But again, so you have to go into the county, like the booking office in Kings Park, Bradley Park, to get the tickets, etc., etc. And it's available at clubs, etc., etc. That's good. That at least there's an option there. The option's there. And again, just to keep going back to it, because I couldn't believe at the time when they came out with that statement, that they were thrown in the bin, etc., etc., that elected councillors who have been told by their constituents they're not happy with it, that was the response they got. And again, what was said is there's no discussion really about it. They were like, we're not going to have a big discussion about it, or anything. They were outright refusing to listen to anybody. And this is the same county board that has their big dinners, etc., etc. And these people that are on the county board, they're not getting, they are getting, they're definitely not doing it for nothing. They're getting money for it. They definitely are getting big dinners, luxuries, because we all know that's what the GAA is really about. The only Joe who's in the clubs, etc., etc., giving up his time for nothing, and the big boys on the top of the county board are getting a huge amount of money. And the GAA have showed themselves time and time again to be, what we've seen in Croke Park, for example, over and over again. The GAA are not the crowd that was set up years ago for Irish country, etc., etc. They've thrown that out the window, and whatever goes nowadays, basically. But I could go on for hours, but long story short, I'm not happy with it. That it took this long. It's unacceptable that it took this long. And again, this is just plain and simple. If they ever do this again, people should be up in arms, because they might just do it for a few months and try and slowly put it back, because you couldn't trust them, to be totally honest. But it's good that we finally have it this way, because again, it's been going on for a long time, and it's unacceptable what was happening. And particularly to elderly people, I remember people in the 80s and 70s being turned away at turnstiles in Cavan. People who built the GAA, people who played in the GAA when they were younger, etc., etc., they turned them away. But if other people from Timbuktu came along, there's no bother with that. We get them in for nothing. The government will pay for it. That's what would happen. Because imagine if they turned away somebody that came from Ukraine, for example, there'd be uproar. There'd be mighty uproar. There'd be pandemonium in this county if one person from Ukraine was thrown around. But if it's an Irish person, though, it doesn't matter. The GAA don't care. They don't care. But it's just, I found it astonishing, because again, this is the thing, and the Grip Media done a great article on it too. It's important to remember 350,000 people in this country still in the modern economy, etc., still don't have a bank account. So still people use cash, etc. The majority will be elderly people, obviously, and some young people too. They just know what to do with bank accounts, etc., and that's fine. That's their right. There shouldn't be this element in the society to force people to use their bank account. Again, as I always say, you have the option if you want to use it. You have the option to just give people an option. It shouldn't be just their way or the highway, because that's what they wanted before, and they didn't get away with it, unfortunately. So it sucks to be them, but that's what it is about. But yeah, as I say, it's good to finally senses prevailed. It took a long time for the sense to prevail, but it's great that it is there now. And again, we have to give huge thanks to Councillor Sarah Wiley for that, because again, the rest of the councillors were nowhere to be found. Australia are gone. They were nowhere to be found. Nowhere. I heard none of them mentioned about this. The only councillor I heard standing up for people was Sarah Wiley in this regard, particularly standing up for the elderly people. And again, the response she got at the time when the letter was sent wasn't that pleasant, to put it lightly, for an elected official to raise concerns, legitimate concerns. Like, it wasn't like we were asking them to get heaven on earth for us. We were only asking them to give them an option, give the public an option to spend their cash. It's not like they were asking them to let people in for nothing, because I'm sure that wouldn't happen in the GA. But you get what I'm saying. It was a bit too much. But anyway. What's done is done, I suppose, as long as this stays the way it does, and I'm sure everybody would agree it should stay the way it would. They shouldn't dare change it. But you never know with the GAA, to be told. But again, I've lost all really respect for the GAA, particularly in the last few years. I've lost all the sold too. They have GAA games on Sky Sports and stuff, all for big bucks. They don't care about the owner Joe who pays their TV licensing. They want people to get Sky, and they want this and that and the other. It's not about the value of Irish culture anymore. It's not about the community. It's more about how much money we can make off the back of the GAA and give it to the county boards, because the money that's made by the local clubs all goes to the county boards, and it's insane. And especially the big government grants too they get. It's not right. But anyway, that's just my opinion. Again, that's democracy. You're having an opinion, raising concerns and stuff like that. That's democracy. I know the GAA might not like it, but that's democracy. If you want to move to China, you can move to China. But anyway, thank you for watching. Let me know what you think. It's great to know, but I'll leave the link in the description for the Grip Media article in case I missed something. But it's great that the option's there now. That's all I say. Thank you.